Hey folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, it's just downright cold here. And it's tonight, I think, from the looks of it, it's going to be the worst of it. We're not going to be out of this really frigid cold till probably Wednesday-ish or so. Wednesday, once the sun gets up, starts warming things up, we'll start to begin to see closer to normal temperatures. But lows tonight, 0 to 5 degrees probably, wind chills below that. It's fun stuff, but you know what? We get this ever so often. This is normal. In fact, we've had it way, way colder than that here. I can remember many times growing up in these parts that, and even just a few years ago, that nighttime lows were, double-digit negatives and wind chills of 15 to 20 to below zero and stuff. So it's not that uncommon. But, hey, got to get ready for it anyways, because whether it's normal or not, it still affects you. That's when you get into this kind of cold temperatures. And those of you north of me, you know this more than anyone. If you're not prepared, it can be very dangerous. So, speaking of that, I've just left our fire station because found out that the water was not draining out the pipes, and apparently sewer problems are going on. So we're gonna, once this freezes over, we gotta probably do some digging up to see what's going on, if it's a collapsed line or something like that. But it's stuff always just, the cold weather just exacerbates things. Anyways, switching gears. So we're less than 24 hours away from having a new president. Donald Trump, of course, as you all know, unless you've been living under a rock for the last few years, and especially a few months, will take the throne. A lot of changes, and some of it looks good, some of it not too sure about yet. The talk today is that there are plans that as soon as he takes office, or shortly thereafter, he will declare a state of emergency on the southern border to deal with the incoming illegals. Now, on the surface, I'm not opposed to that. I mean, it's definitely a national emergency and needs to be taken care of. But I'm always leery, for any reason whatsoever, for the government to declare a national emergency. Because if you know, you know. Whenever they issue that emergency declaration, it opens up so much authority that they don't really have. In other words, it allows them to do things they would not normally be allowed to do. And many times that includes trampling on the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights, all under the guise of an emergency. Now, again, on the other hand, I get it that there is a national emergency there, and it needs to be dealt with. But we will see. Because many times, even the good guys, when you give them too much power, they take it and run with it. And very rarely, when authority has been given or power has been given to government, once they're done, do they ever give it back? So that always, it doesn't matter who it is, and it doesn't matter for what reason. Whenever the government declares a national emergency over something, it always makes me a little nervous. But there's a lot of things coming on that I've read that he's expected to sign something like 100 different executive orders tomorrow. Many of it is reversing ridiculous policies from Joe Biden. Some of it, apparently he's possibly going to free January 6th people. I've seen things that he may make marijuana federally legal. There's just all kinds of stuff. We won't really know until it actually happens, because there's always a lot of talk, and a lot of times that talk doesn't compare to what actually is what's going to happen. So we'll see tomorrow, or at least for over the next week, of what actually takes place. There's still a lot of people that feel that something could happen between now and the inauguration time, or even over the next several days, that could, potentially be disruptive. There's National Guard and lots of police presence in Washington, D.C., and there's just I'm seeing a lot of people saying that everyone's just kind of on edge, because up until now, everything honestly has gone way too smoothly. I mean, if for those of you my age and older, it's been several elections since there's been a really true smooth transition of power. You know, where it's just, you know, new guy gets elected, everything goes smoothly. No, it's been a long time since there's not been some type of, you know, outbursts at the very least. So be ready, because it's still possible that things could happen. Overall, kind of like I've been telling you the last few days, we really need to continually ready ourselves. There's just too much going on in the world, too much going on with this new world order, great reset and all of that we cannot just ignore things or allow the fact that Trump is getting into office kind of pacify us and you know, go back to sleep, so to speak. There's a lot of things, and I think the economy is going to be something to watch, of how it reacts to all of these things. Are they going to use that to kind of basically sabotage Trump's presidency? This H5N1 bird flu and many other things are happening. Just talked to someone yesterday, excuse me, I guess it was the day before yesterday, and they are a natural health practitioner, and he was talking about how you know, there's shortages and extreme price increases and difficulties in getting good quality natural medicines. And we were talking about this H5N1 and a few other things, and how you know, that's an area that's going to affect people if this becomes a full-blown pandemic. That the ability to get things to actually take care of yourself and heal what may be going on is becoming more and more difficult. And he was encouraging, you know, people need to be growing their own natural medicines, and that's the whole point of what I've said many times. We have to become self-sufficient in many different ways. We have to being self-sufficient is really becoming kind of a Swiss Army knife, in so to speak, where you may not be an expert in very many things. You know, most of the tools on a Swiss Army knife aren't the best tool possible for that job, but will they work? Many times, yes. And so that's where we have to be. You don't have to be the best gardener or the best herbalist or the best at building something or the best at defense or medicine or whatever, but you need to have a good, well-rounded view of all of it. And you need to acquire the proper training as best as you can, the proper information, the proper tools as best as you can. And I understand that that's all relative based on your income and your time. And so I'm not one of these guys that, oh, you have to have this $2,500 rifle or you're just going to die. Or, oh, you have to have this, $300 or $400 med kit or you're going to die. You do the best that you can, and when you're able to, you upgrade to something better, because it's better to have a cheap gun that functions than to have no gun while you're saving up to buy something high dollar. For those of you looking for some medical potential kind of training or to kind of give you a better, well-rounded view, for months now, and usually once or twice a week, I post a video that I call in a series, the Prepper Medical Responder. I post it over on Locals. It is a subscription base, but I basically share information, knowledge, and experience that I have as a first responder in the medical field and doing fire rescue, to kind of help people get better prepared. Because there's so many things out there that can happen, and I believe that one of them is your personal health, whether it's illnesses or injuries, and if you're not ready to handle that, I mean, all the prepping in the world will go up and not be any use to you if you become ill or if the people around you or become injured beyond repair. So having information like that, I think, is very useful. So anyway, there's a link for that over to go over to that site and to sign up. But I'm telling you, folks, don't be bamboozled by all of this change and this talk about all of the things that are going to happen, whether they're good or bad, and allow yourself to kind of go back to sleep, so to speak. Keep prepping, keep pushing yourself to be more and more self-sufficient, because the whole world is just becoming evil. It's becoming crazy and it's becoming scary. And it doesn't matter really who's going to be in the White House, no matter how good or bad they are. The world powers and this forward motion of globalism and of really the beast system, it's happening. And we have to be prepared for it and constantly becoming more ready, getting yourself self-sufficient as possible, stocking up, acquiring the knowledge and the skills that you need to kind of take care of yourself. So keep doing that, because you're going to hate yourself eventually if you need it and you don't have it, or if you need the skill and you haven't learned it when you look back and realize you had the opportunity. So just be ready, because I think we're up for a pretty crazy year ahead. It's like we've hit this really quiet lull over the last few months, but I think we're about ready to kick off into some crazy times. Folks, it's time to get your houses in order and prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.